And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours episode 105, Making Smart Moves with Smart Alerts. In this episode, we're going to talk you through one of our latest updates and improvements to Smart Alerts. These are real-time alerts that you can be notified up to see like interesting on-chain activity. We'll walk you through the types of alerts, how you can set them up, and much more. And so I think that's pretty much it. We're joined with Martin and Journey, who you both know. I'll let you both make intros. Journey first.
Hi everyone, my name is Journey and I'm Product Marketing Manager in Nansen. Good to be back.
Yep, and I'm Martin and I lead content and comms at Nansen. So also good to be back.
Good to be back.
We had some pretty good episodes last time because we Martin and I, we dive into like Blur, which has done really well, and there's some interesting tokens on there. Journey, ERC 404s, and so we went through some interesting features. And I'm really excited about this episode because Smart Alerts, I think, are one of the most powerful features we've got in Nansen. And now that we've got some like changes to them to support other features in Nansen, I think they've got even better. So Jenny, do you want to kind of give us an explainer of like what a Smart Alert is, how they work, and we can share your screen and you can kind of just like go through one or two examples?
Yeah, sure. Is that my screen? Okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well, Smart Alerts actually, yeah, I think as the name itself suggests, basically it's just, alerts that you receive when you're exploring, sort of like navigating through the market, but you want to pretty much get notified, right? There's significant sort of like signals that's happening. And usually people set up Smart Alerts when, they already know certain like wallet addresses that they want to follow or certain tokens maybe they're interested in, or they have like a bag that they're holding and don't know what to do with it. So that's I think the common like use cases, or even like, certain sort of smart contract, right? They want to sort of like understand what is the activity there. So I think for Nansen, what sets our Smart Alerts apart is that actually we can allow you to receive notification on things that you don't even know yet, right? Especially like maybe tokens. So for example, if you set up Smart Alerts on maybe smart money on-chain activities, so you can sort of know what the tokens they're buying or selling that you didn't know previously. We can probably dig into that a bit later, but today I think I want to share we actually have implemented Smart Alerts for signals. So what you can do is, simply go to homepage and then just click View All, and on the signals feed, this is where like you can receive all the latest sort of like tweet feeds on all the signals that have generated in the last, day or so. So what you can do is click Set Alert, and then there are two types of signal alerts, right? One is for token, and then the other one is for NFTs. So personally, I think the NFT summer is coming back, so but that's my bias. But let's see token signals. So click Next, and then of course there's a drop-down menu where you can sort of select maybe SEX token flow, DEX token flow, and these two pretty much tells you when there's like unusual amount of tokens being sent to a centralized exchange or a DEX trades or leaving these exchanges. And then usually there might be some price sort of impact, right, when there is unusual flow, as well as fresh wallet flow. Actually, I quite like this one recently. I will share an example later. And then also smart money token flow. Basically, this is what smart money is doing on chain. So let's say you just select these three. For top balance change, I think this is more useful, especially if you have certain tokens, right, that you want to check, for example, here. So in this case, I would just like select all tokens and then set up an ID here and then click Create Smart Alerts. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, as mentioned, for fresh wallet signal, right? I wanted to share example is this JASMY coin. I've been receiving alerts on fresh wallets accumulating JASMY like for a few days now, and also you can see the price has been like going up almost, yeah, like 200% just in the last 7 days. And also today we just received like smart money as sort of like, okay, selling. Okay, that's why they're smart, right? Because price pump yourself. But yeah, I guess like early at this point, when you receive signals, like a lot of people are like fresh wallets are accumulating. It's time to do some research. It's actually a very old coin. I think they call it the Japanese Bitcoin or something. But yeah, that's one example for that I didn't know. I'm not familiar with this coin, but I saw the signals, and then if I dig into it and put some money in, I could have made quite a lot of money. Again, like I always say this, there are a lot of like things in crypto happening. It's impossible for you to capture everything. Sometimes it takes risks as well, so it depends on your strategy. But this is one of the examples I think would be very valuable for signal alerts.
I like that. Martin, are you a JASMY bag holder?
I am not, unfortunately. I also have like no clue what this token is about. But I've seen it like make rounds around like crypto Twitter. Quite a few like people I've seen like talking about it. But once again, I am very mid-curve and I tend to fade things that do well.
Me too. Recently, I saw this tweet. I thought it's really good and very funny. Basically, it says that there are people who are half your IQ but making 10x money because they're not smart enough to doubt themselves. I thought that's hilarious and very true. I think like, yeah, sometimes we just overthink.
A dumb money filter almost, could you say?
Yeah, exactly. Edward, I know you really like our signals feature as well. You've shared a lot of great examples. Yeah. Do you want to like?
Yeah, of course. So I'm just going to share my screen now. And so one of the cool things about signals, as Jenny said, you can set alerts, and she showed you the flow, and you can also set them up directly here in Smart Alerts. And you see some of the Smart Alerts that we've set up in the past. This is the marketing team's account. So we generate our own alpha, share it in Slack so that we can always stay on top of everything, but more on that maybe later. One of the cool things about our signals feed is that you can apply filters. For me, I don't think NFT summer is coming back anytime soon. Martin, I don't know if
we'll come back to this episode later.
Maybe there's a discussion point there. I do hope NFT summer comes back because let's just say I'm not very profitable on NFTs. But there we go. There could be something there. Martin, if you have a view, let me know.
I would say like NFTs I really agree with the viewpoint that NFTs are meme coins with pictures. And like given how we've seen like meme coins do in the past couple of months, and how penguins have been doing as well. And actually a couple of like cute collections like Seppi sales have done like pretty decent. Doodles have been doing all right as well. It wouldn't surprise me if we do see NFT summer or maybe like NFT spring maybe. So
by cute NFTs could potentially be an interesting play. Unfortunately, my NFTs aren't that cute, so I'll be on the sidelines while you guys will be winning. So back to signals. I like applying these filters here. So Smart Money Token Flow, DEX Token Flow, Fresh Wallets Flow, and we can see that all the activity here. There's this Puffer ETH. I think Jenny, you touched on that within Slack actually the other day. I'm not too sure. Yeah. So do you know what that's all about?
Yeah, basically you can stake ETH and stake ETH basically to farm. Let me check my notes. Yeah, this is definitely a contract that, before we received the smart alerts, we didn't know what it's about. So this is a hot contract, right? Basically received like over 180 million in just like 2 or 3 days. And we found out it actually belongs to Puffer Finance. So basically if you are depositing stake ETH and wrap stake ETH, you can actually farm the Puffer points and also eigenlayer points.
And I think you touched on a really good point there, the farming side of things. And there is no better farmer than His Royal Highness Justin's son. who currently owns 16% of the entire Puffer ETH. And so what I really like here is that these signals kind of give you these interesting insights, and then you can do your due diligence on here. So what I always tend to go look into first is something like this, because it's something along the lines of ETH. You don't need to worry about the price because it's in line with ETH, such as like staked ETH, etc. So I'm not going to look at the chart here, but I want to look at the balances to see who's holding here. And there's a lot of token millionaires, so a lot of people who are new in here. We see some smart money. Again, if you're looking to farm something, seeing Justin Sun there is often a good sign. I mean, I remember DeFi Summer, the yield was really good until Justin Sun arrived and deposited his funds and then took it all. And then it's just interesting to be able to have a look through here and as it's a very new token, you can see just how the distribution comes from here. And yeah, so if you're interested in that, if you're interested in like maybe farming Puffer, then there's something there. But let's look at some other signals here, because I like the signals where you can maybe catch a movement early or maybe see an interesting token. So fresh wallet flow is interesting because you can see new addresses coming in trying to buy a coin. So maybe these are funds or an exchange or something along those lines that are doing some activity there. And so here's a good one. I don't know what this token is. It's called Peak. It's down 99%. And it's had a massive outflow. And you can see that basically this is like a pretty much down, or like something that has completely gone down massively. And people have just dumped it, and you can capture that movement there. We saw that if you held this coin, like this is something you shouldn't be touching at all. So if you're looking at it, boom, ignore it, move on, because there's been a significant token price movement from there, and you can dive in there.
Actually, this one, I think FET. This is an AI coin, right?
That is an AI coin. You just beat me to it.
Some old, relatively old like coin that's been pumping recently.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that we had a comment just at the start of this offset. I was looking to AI coins, and maybe we can dive in that later. But let's explore Fetch AI. So we found the token, we found the signal. The signal has said, let's go back to it. Fresh wallets have accumulated 29 million of FET in the last 24 hours, and that's 83x of the recent average. So this is really, really interesting. The signal came up an hour ago. We go, okay, could potentially be an interesting indicator, because who's accumulating and why they're accumulating. From the signal, we see the price has gone up by 74% over the past 7 days. That's not bad, and you can see the fully diluted valuation when it was deployed. And I remember buying this on Coinbase when I first started getting into crypto, because I thought AI was the future. So I feel like everyone's got a story like that with those like Coinbase coins.
The future is back.
Yeah. So Martin, I'm going to rely on you here a little bit. How would you look through a token? So if you want to like guide me through the process, so our viewers can kind of get a good understanding of how that works.
Yeah, so there's like a few different like workflows that I do when looking at token. So it primarily like revolves around like either like am I doing like a shorter term trade or a longer term like or trying to like build up like a longer term position. So like if I'm trying to look for an entry, I actually will use the DEX trades table, which is the table that you're currently on, quite a bit. So like for example, if the token is like down like 10-20%, I will actually like look at the feed and try to see like is there anyone like buying, and if there's any like smart money in particular like buying, or any like funds or any like notable addresses. So if it's down like 15-20%, but I do see like decent buying activity from key wallets, then it's like very, very likely that I will also like take a position. But if I kind of just see like everyone's just like dumping, and there's like and there's like no one like really like buying, then I will probably like wait a while, because like catching a falling knife is not the most so like I actually like use the DEX trades table quite a bit, and also like if I'm looking for like a long and the who bought who sold tab as well, like just to like get a brief like overview. But to me, like the difference between like who bought and who sold versus like the live DEX table is that like who bought who sold is kind of like useful if you are not looking to make like the entry now. Like if you want to buy like now, honestly, like who bought who sold in the last 24 hours, like it can be quite, like it can be a bit too late already. Like price has like might have changed quite a bit since then. So but to me, like who bought who sold really has like value if you are like thinking of like buying like regardless of like price kind of thing, and you just want to have an overview of like who's buying, who's selling, and it's more like a longer term thing. Yeah. And then I also like look at the smart money tab. Yep. And just to like get a view of like, okay, who are like the top holders, if there's any interesting wallets. Yeah, yeah, for this you see DWF use yeah, DWF has been taking, it looks like they have taken some profit maybe. Not sure. Might have to like dive deeper and see.
Let's do that. Let's do that then. Yeah, I also think one of the interesting things about what you call it when it comes to who bought, who sold, it's a really good area for you to find like interesting addresses that you can manage going forward. So that's an important profile token. Yeah, so you can kind of use that to kind of look at movements and go, has there been something here that is interesting? We did some content not too long ago about WorldCoin and seeing any addresses that caught the move. And so this is wallet profile of the token, and you can kind of just have a look at a wallet and then their token, as the name implies, and their activity from there. So you can get an understanding of the labels. And then if you go down here, you can see all their activity. So when they had tokens coming in, we do an all-time view, and then any of their activity. And as you can see here, DWF's example, they still hold a significant amount. Their cost basis is up 225%. They're a fund. They are a smart money fund. So they are highly profitable. And yeah, as you can see, they've just been selling a little bit off the top. So they sold, moved $1 million out to Binance. And often when you send to Binance, you don't just store there. And so, yeah, the signal was linking to fresh addresses, and we can just look at, see any differences from here as well. So kind of, and we can see that there is this address here that has accumulated a significant amount. And we can see that they first funded from this burn address. I don't know if any of you know what this means.
Yeah.
Or yeah, no.
In this case, yeah, usually it's like new issue.
Yeah. So in that case, it could be that the fresh wallet addresses have come through a new issuance. And so these are just like little things that you can look into when you are researching into a token and how you can use signals from there. And so we did say that you can use smart alerts for many different things, and we've shown you how you can do it for signals. But there are also other examples that we've added. Martin, I know you're quite keen to highlight token God mode and profiler and how you can now add smart alerts directly within that. So if you want to kind of walk us through that, I've just shared your screen so we can start from that.
Yep. Okay. Let me just back on that. Yeah. So yeah, I saw the comment earlier about like AI/gaming tokens. And yeah, and Render is one of like the AI tokens. It's a decentralized GPU processing project. Basically, it's decentralized NVIDIA, which is also why like price has like gone up a lot in the last 24 hours, because NVIDIA beat earnings, and then people just tie the two together and you get massive price movements. Yeah, and they've also like been benefiting from the AI narrative rally. So yeah, I was just like looking into like Render, and like I would say there's like a few like types of alerts that you can set. So one is, for example, if you're a holder of like the token itself, you can set a alert on the token to basically give you an alert whenever there's large transfers or there's large like movements from the token itself. And if I'm not wrong, now you can even set it for like the top holders, and you can even set up like exchange flows alerts for the token as well. And of course, you can also set like alerts whenever there's like smart money movement regarding the token itself. So basically, you can like essentially track every on-chain movement related to the token, and it's like sent directly to either your like Telegram, Slack, or Discord, which makes it like super convenient because no one has the time to be online and be on Nansen like 24 hours a day. But with smart alerts, you really don't have to. You can just like set it, and then whenever a significant event based on how you have like defined it, whenever something like that happens, you get alerted immediately, and then you can quickly then scramble to take any action. And yeah, so like I was looking at the render, and then so about I think like a month or so, like I actually like started getting alerts about a fund that has been like offloading the token. So I hopped onto Nansen and then went to the smart money tab, and then so if you wanna like quickly find like a smart money that's been like selling a token, you can just go to the smart money tab and sort by balance changes. So depending on when the alert is, so mine was like about a month ago, or at least like within like the last 30 days. So I sorted by that, and Kinetic Capital is the clear.
So, I mean, it's a significant amount.
Yeah. So let me just get back there again. Token. Yep. And if we take a look at their wallet, so basically it's about like a week ago or so, they kind of offloaded essentially all of their holdings. And the price has like gone up quite a bit like, since then. But if you take a look at their entry, they got in at like 67 cents. So at the time, so they've been like offloading it like consistently over like the past like I would say like the past like 1 to 2 months, and they've actually like offloaded it at like relatively like good points in time actually. So like the first time that they sold was like the like micro like peak, and then again they sold it at another like micro peak, and again like slightly off it, and actually like if you see that like the price that sold it at, like price like went down like 20-ish% since they started like since they made the sales, and then again they offloaded it, and before like finally like getting rid of everything at like around 480. So they're up like 8x ish on their on yeah. So like I mean, who can blame them for yeah. And like
It's super impressive.
Yeah.
And I think there's the two things you kind of showed there as well when you're looking at this research here is that there's one thing when you like right clicked, it's a new feature that we've added. And I thought I'd just like give a little spotlight onto that. You could right click into an address when you're on smart money and it goes straight into wallet profile of the token. So you can go find what you need. And then when it comes to, as Martha's just done there, so you don't have to just worry about going through different features. So just small UX improvement that I just want to like flag because I know a lot of us in the team were wanting something like that just so we can kind of make the most out of it. So thank you very much, Martin, for highlighting that because I feel like that's something that's totally underrated and something that I'm sure people will love. And if you're interested in, say, like setting up a smart alert for Render, because, okay, you've seen this address, Kinetic Capital have sold an awful lot. Was this the right thing to do? Was it not? You can just go to the Render token, token God modes page, and then go to balances. And then from there, if you're interested in a specific token, you just go to the balance side of things and you can just set up a smart alert directly there, I believe. It's one of those things where it's really, really interesting to do and be able to set up smart alerts, as Martin's showing here, for all these tokens. Journey, I don't know if there's a token that you want to look into or if there's a new feature that you want to look into with smart alerts. Maybe you want to look into smart money, or shall we look into hot contracts? I'll let you decide. And I'll cover the other one.
Yeah, I think since we're on the topic of AI coins, maybe there's one more that we can take a look. Basically, also we've received like a alert on smart money token inflow, which is also on the homepage actually. Okay, I can see that's my screen. Cool. So basically, it's this Ali coin, and also the price has been mooning. Yeah. So this is very interesting. When you see there's smart money, like so-called like receiving or accumulating tokens, usually you want to find out a little bit more, right? Like, who are these smart money, and exactly what does receiving or accumulating mean? So in this case, we can just go to the smart money tab. And also, this is one of those like relatively old coins, as in, it's not created this year during the AI hype. And quickly just look through at the holdings here. You can see there are a lot of like VCs and funds in the space. So actually, some of these funds that I've received in the last 24 hours, which also include this address, right, Ali Investor, and just this alone sort of tell me that it could be a token unlock. So we can see Multicoin Capital previously has also received 50 million, and they transferred it to another address of theirs. So this one is not, again, it's not sell, it's just transferred to another address. And then, of course, they received again. So now we know, like, there's this interesting AI coin that a lot of funds have invested maybe, early in the days, and now they're receiving some unlocks. But the price is going up, and also it sort of like writes the narrative. And do you want to, maybe buy? And this case, you can also set alerts on this maybe particular big, investor addresses, and then see if they are, sending these coins to like exchanges or selling them, or actually they are holding them, which could be a, bullish sign. So that's another example that I wanted to share.
That's a really good point there about like finding addresses. So not only is smart alerts about being able to spot interesting movements or see what's happening in real time, but it's also trying to keep a track of like addresses that you find really interesting. So I remember when I first started at Nansen, one of the first things I was doing was tracking all these interesting addresses and meme coins. And I still get Telegram alerts now.
Yeah.
You just see them. And I remember trading in real time, seeing what they were doing, just to explore what they were doing. And it was really interesting because as soon as they made a move, I got notified from that, and then found these interesting coins, bought into them, performed from there. And then from there, you could do research on those coins they bought into to find more interesting addresses. From there, you kind of create like a wealth, or almost a wealth database of just these interesting addresses that you find really interesting. You can apply your own custom labels and stuff like that through there in Nansen. So you can see them throughout. And then from there, you can, if that's an investing strategy that you want to use, then that's something that you can really benefit from. And I thought that was really fun. So that point you was making their journey about how you can find addresses and then add smart alerts to them. It's all about building a workflow that works for you. And then from there, leveraging that to then find new opportunities and help make investment decisions for you on that side of things. So are these smart money addresses selling? Are they buying? Are they transferring to new addresses? Who knows?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It's kind of like creating your different like alpha groups, right? For different sort of like meme coins, AI, gaming, all this. Your own alpha groups.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's one of the things we're trying to highlight a lot at the moment with like Nansen, is that we're trying to make it more personalized so that you can make it work better for you, so that your individual use cases can be tailored from there, and then you can make it work for you, because maybe the way that I invest is different from the way that you invest, Journey, and maybe different from you, Martin. So I think that's something that's really important to highlight. So we've covered token god mode and profiler, we've covered signals and how some of them work, we've covered some AI tokens, which are really interesting. So now let's have a proper dive into smart money. Martin, do you want to take a lead on here, or do you want me to jump in?
You can start first, and then I'll jump in later.
Just give feedback wherever. Okay, cool. So we've touched on smart money a few times now, because it's one that we recently made changes to the dashboard. You can find it here, and it is incredible, I find. And you can see everything that's happening in real time, top trades and whatnot. All these different funds personalized on there. But what I really want to highlight today is DEX trades, and I also want to look at balances as well, because balances, you can see the change whether it's in percentage or dollars. I prefer to go to dollars. We already touched on this coin here. Thanks you, Journey. And then what I find is that when you want to set up a smart alert, you can play around with this dashboard here to then figure out how you want to kind of curate your own smart alerts. What do you actually really want to find? So, for example, you might be really interested in finding coins that smart money addresses are very involved in. So we take a quick look on the side here. We find that something maybe over 20 seems like a good number to spot anything interesting. So we go smart money holders 20, and then we can see smart money token holders changes via dollars, and they have to be more than 20. And we want to look at the balance change over the past 30 days. And so this is now me trying to figure out, how do I want to set up a smart alert, and how do I want to respond to that? So Puffer ETH, we touched on that earlier, and Justin Sun Farming, Ali from here as well, and we can also see Pork that we've covered beforehand, and some other tokens. And I go, well, this looks like something that is quite interesting to me. We covered Prime not too long ago, which is an interesting token as well that's been doing quite well recently. And I go, you know what, this is something that I like, and I'm going to set up a smart alert for that. So you just go to smart alerts, create a new alert, and then you'd go smart money token flow. Minimum token age is 1 day, because there could be interesting tokens that are new. But the most important thing that we want to cover is making sure that there are a certain amount of addresses in there. And we look at the balances from there, and we want to say around about $1 million as well, because that's where we're looking at here. And then you can include that there. And yeah, so that's something that's really interesting. But with smart money token holdings, what I really, really, really like is the DEX trades tab. And this is where you can kind of see what they're trading in real time. We covered it beforehand, like 2 weeks ago, Journey, and we covered like sort of ERC 404s. So let's see what they're trading at the moment, what smart money is really trading at the moment. And you see there's the standard tokens here, and then we can see things like Flip, which is down quite a bit, I think, from when I made an entry in it a while ago. So maybe I'm done money. There's GALA, which is a gaming token. I knew someone who ran a GALA node and made an awful lot of money from that in the last bull market. Maybe there's a resurgence there.
Yeah, we do see resurgence, right? Of a lot of the older gaming and AI coins.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, let's have a look at GALA. I don't exactly know I can't remember what it was. I just remember my friend telling me that they were doing very well on it. And if we look at the price of the past year, it hasn't been doing that well, but since around October, it's up about 2x. So there could be something there. Maybe it is that resurgence. We don't know. But to have a look at here, let's see what smart money's doing. Smart money often lead the way when it comes to these activities. So balance change in the past 30 days. And we see that there have been a few changes here. Wintermute tends to be like over-the-counter kind of side of things. But this address here, Oros Global, is something that's kind of caught my attention. So this has caught my attention even more now, actually. I don't know if either of you have tracked this address beforehand, but from September 2023, the portfolio has grown substantially from just over $300,000 to now $4.6 million. That's pretty impressive. And you can kind of see what that address is doing. And I think this is an address that I might want to track later on. So as you can see here,
I can set alert there.
There's an alert there, and whatever they're doing, you can kind of see what they're doing in real time, because performance like this is unique, shall we say. Journey, I don't know if you have addresses like this that you track, but I find that to be quite interesting, to say the least. And if we look at their trades, you can see they've made significant gains from Link, Pepe, ARB, and they're currently holding a bunch of ETH, USDC, GRT, Ample 4 links. It's quite like old coins, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very
like I've actually seen this like fund appear on like a couple of token DEX trades actually, and I haven't really looked into them, but from the activity they do like pretty weird stuff, and I kind of suspect that they are like a high frequency or some kind of like automated trading system, because like I do see them sometimes making like very quick in and out trades.
Right.
It's very odd. Like it doesn't seem to be like manually executed.
Looking at it right now, like as we're seeing right now, do
they
have label for like maybe map?
No, I don't. They seem to just be a smart DEX trader, but a market maker as well. So that could be.
Okay. Yes, market maker. Interesting.
But then Yeah, ONDO, there seems to be something happening there, so we can take a look there. And see, this is the purpose again. We're talking about how you can use Nansen. Nansen's not going to give you the alpha straight away. You just kind of have to have a little rummage through, and then once you start finding things that maybe pique your interest, you can like dive in there. So ONDO is real world assets, something along those lines. I don't know if either of you know much about it.
Yeah, it's like a real world asset. It's like a tokenized real world asset kind of like project. If I'm not wrong, they might have been the first or one of the first few to actually bring like
Yeah, no, interesting, because I remember some of the team talking about this, and we can just look in here and see what they're
Because-
doing.
Oh, we lost you there for a second.
oh oops.
You're back.
Oh, you're back. Okay, great. Yeah, you were saying?
Yeah, so like they're basically like real asset, like tokenizing real asset kind of like protocol. If I'm not wrong, they might have been the first.
Okay, so whenever Martin says the word first, he freezes.
Okay, while Martin
Yeah.
comes back, we'll have a quick look over here, and you can see with what profile of a token, again, a very underrated feature, because you can just see what's going on. They accumulated a bunch, and you see the price, or they accumulated, they started to sell, accumulate a bit more, and they currently hold 388,000. ONDO up 34%, and you can see their activity, as Martin was saying earlier, it is very, very quick. So they make moves very, very quickly in the market. And if you look at the address, I mean, it seems to be a strategy that seems to be working. Yeah, so that's an address that you go, okay, I'm interested in, and if you find something similar to this, you can just set up an alert for all these things. Maybe not NFT transfer, because this might not be something that's interesting, and then you set up the alert, and then you fill in the details here. And that's just one way of using smart money. And then another example is if we go to smart money again, and we go to transactions or overview. Actually, this could be really interesting, and you can look at top trades. And top trades is a really good way to find addresses. I think it's a good way to find addresses because these are the addresses that are making the most money. Or you can just go down a little bit further and go to smart money token performance, and you can see these addresses that have been doing really well at the market. So this address here, for example, has made money off SORA. That's seems to be a token that they've done well on. And if I'm someone who wants to be trading on more of a 30-day, 7-day, like want to be and these traders seem much more quicker in the market, they tend to buy more trends. This could be an address that I want to track. But what's caught my attention here is this address here that's bought a bunch of prime and is doing quite well. And again, we see this trend of generally moving upwards quite nicely. Their balance is quite high. They're a smart DEX trader. I'm really interested in smart DEX traders because these are addresses that are very good at making good trades. So if I'm someone who's looking to grow my portfolio, these addresses are ones that I want to keep an eye on at least, because they might have an insight that I might not have, or they might have conviction somewhere where I might not be aware of. So we can see where they are. They've traded an awful lot of tokens here. I don't know what some of these are. I know SAVM we covered in the previous office hours. Beam is a gaming token. Pork, again, we've covered. So there's just some little interesting tokens here. I don't know if anything catches your eyes, Journey or Martin, and we can maybe dive into one of those tokens.
Not really.
No, no.
Oh, Beam,
yeah.
Beam has gone up a lot.
Beam.
Okay,
Beam.
Alex
Okay,
showed it.
So you can see here, they still hold a big holding of it. We'll go first look into their wallet profile for token to see where their current position is, and that's very interesting activity. They seem to just be in out, but they seem to be catching some good movements. So, what is it? Purchasing 1.7 at 0.19, and then selling a little bit more. So they seem to be catching the movements quite well, actually. That's very interesting. So this is an address that I might want to set up an alert for anyways. Walk through that, boom. But let's look at Beam generally. So we can see the price is up by 21%. And the first thing we want to look into is who bought over the 7 days or who sold. And then we can just go through here, find addresses, and see if anything catches our eyes. So I tend to avoid private transaction senders, but let's look at, say, this address here, Punk 9119 ETH. I like this address. I like seeing punks because it tends to be people who are, interesting. Let's see if they actually own a punk before validating them. And I don't think they do, but they have been quite profitable when it comes to NFTs. So that's something. So we'll skip that one there. Always see Jared from Subway. I don't know. Like explain what Jared from Subway is and why that's someone you don't really want to monitor, but he's always there everywhere.
Yeah. Sandwich attacker.
Yeah. And that basically means
MEV bot, right?
Yeah.
And so basically he jumps in just before you make a trade to sell you coins at a higher price very, very quickly. So if you've been attacked by Jared from Subway, your slippage is probably high and he thanks you very much for your service. So I tend to avoid him, but it's just interesting to see. The address is really interesting to look into generally, but for the purpose of this, it's not that interesting. And so what I find interesting as well when we apply like filters, so the interesting movements is if anyone's bought between, let's say, the 30th of January up until the 9th of February, they currently hold, or they have just recently sold, they've probably made a really interesting address. They've made a really interesting trade, and I'm really interested in seeing that. So you can go to transactions and go to DEX trades, and then from DEX trades you apply a filter here, and then you do a custom time frame, and then from there you would do from the 30th of January up until the 9th of February. So we kind of look at the move, and then we would like to also filter for the action, and we only want to look at buys. We're not interested in sellers. The movement was the buy, and we're going to filter for value here. And this is where you can find some really interesting addresses. And already one of the first addresses we see is a first mover LP who is got in early and is a smart money address. So we can find something interesting here potentially. Reapply the filters. There was nothing there on that case. And again, as this is live, we sometimes do see things, sometimes we don't see things. And that's the joys of this, isn't it? And sometimes you just don't know what you find. While I set this up again, Journey, Martin, is there anything that's kind of caught your attention at the moment in the market? Anything that you're interested in? Anything that you're looking into?
Yeah, this is actually a really good filter, by the way. Great job highlighting that. Yeah, the calendar. I think, that's exactly what a lot of people want to know, right? When they sort of like, there's a new narrative, certain, coins or tokens that capture your attention. And then you always want to know who are the, sort of buyers. Sometimes it could be insiders, but sometimes they really are just, smart traders, right? And then you can use this filter, very powerful, to discover these addresses and probably learn from the next move. But personally, I also feel like sometimes when you're following too many addresses, it doesn't mean that they make, our smart money, usually they're not one hit wonders, right? You can only get a smart money label, and Nansen is because, I consistently outperform the rest. So that's actually a very good signal. But for certain specific addresses, like for specific tokens, there's no guarantee that, they make a very, very good trade on this token, they're gonna, succeed again next time. But I think, but that's the fun, right? Of like sort of see what other people are doing and what you can learn from them.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm just going to quickly go through some of this and show you like a workflow, what I like and I think is really useful to find addresses. So as you may have been seeing, I've been going through these addresses and I've been pressing Command click, so that opens up a new tab. And then from there, I'll just look into some of these addresses and see what's going on. And from there, I can then decide whether or not this is an address that I want to keep an eye on, or if I think that I want to monitor, if I want to set a label for or anything along those lines. And then from there, I can just take action. It could be that this address may have been lucky and they bought early, but then they ended up selling early as well. So it's not that interesting. It could be that they bought early and they're still holding. Maybe they're waiting for a bigger move. Then that address could show conviction. It could be that they bought early and sold right at the top. And if that's the case, then they could be an address that I think is really interesting. So that's the power of the filters. So here's what I've got for this example here. They've got an action for buyers over a specific time range and over a specific value. And then you just click into different addresses here. And then, so for example, in this one here, I've just got this account here. Diamantes on OpenSea. The balance isn't incredible. at the moment, and a lot of their tokens are very interesting to look into. So a bit of the Ronin ecosystem there, a few things here that I don't recognize. Do you recognize anything, some of the things here?
Not really.
Yeah, it's an interesting address. Yeah. And again, we'll go back to wallet profile of the token. So we just copy the address here, wallet profile of the token, boom, into here. And then we'll go to Beam, as that's the coin that we're looking into here. And then see the holdings. And yeah, so this address was accumulating at the point that I thought was interesting, but they sold right before the move, and they currently hold anything here. So when I'm analyzing this address, they made a really good entry, but it doesn't matter about how good your entry is. It's always about the exit. And I think that's something that kind of distinguishes some ordinary addresses from a smart money address. And we can apply that workflow again and again and again to different addresses, and we can just see what's going on. So again, this is another address that I've just found here. I'm just showcasing again, what are they doing? Again, bought early, wrong move. So sometimes it can just be that case of just going a bit manual through this process to figure out what addresses are the right ones to look into. I'll just check this smart DEX trader to see how that compares to this elite DEX trader. And we go to him again. Again, yeah. So they're just kind of like trading off in there. So at the moment, from looking at this live, there's nothing that's kind of popping out to me that's really interesting. But I might need to spend some more time looking into this. And sometimes that is just the case when it comes to Nansen. You set up your filters, you want to try and catch interest in the movement, you want to find an address, and you just have to spend time looking into it, because ultimately that's where the alpha comes in. And then once you find that database, that it really has become powerful. Hence why a little bit Freudian slip there, power base, almost. So going back to smart alerts, so you can set up addresses for addresses that you find are interesting. One interesting feature that I think is really cool, underappreciated, still on Nansen 1, is hot contracts. And we now set smart alerts for that. And hot contracts are really, really powerful, because these are contracts that are retrending at the moment, a lot of activities happening in real time. And if you're someone who is very maybe degenerate, like you want things really fast, or you want to catch really interesting movements, hot contracts is where the alpha really lies, because you can find movements and then boom, you see that a bunch of addresses are diving into a hot contract. Maybe this is something that you should look into quickly, do some research, and then maybe take action. I remember doing this for parallel avatars, and managed to get in the mint just at the very end, and sold the NFT early. So again, going back to the point of it doesn't matter about your entry, it's all about your exit. They're now worth like 10x more. So we talked earlier about NFT summer. Yeah, my NFT trading history is not good, so I probably put a shame on both of you.
I think one thing that's slightly different this time is that we see that a lot of NFT collections are also like, giving out airdrops, especially with Pudgy Penguins, and maybe it's just another strategy, right, for airdrop. I think also Creeps and Sapicil, there are a few other collections that we've seen there are spikes in their trading volume. And it's, because they're working with other projects or chains on token airdrop. So I think that's probably one of the reason why we see NFT spring is here. Yeah. Personally, I also ate into Loomdot's Wasi NFT because he's a Blast investor, and then he's also working on the meme coin called Pump. So if you are a Wasi NFT holder, apparently you can get some Pump airdrop. So yeah, very bullish.
There's your alpha league there. There you go. Maybe it's worth looking at the end before we wrap this episode up. So we'll go over hot contracts really quickly. We can maybe look into an NFT that we're all interested in, maybe one at a time. So we can look at Loomdarts, Wasi's. Marty, I don't know if you have an NFT that you're interested in that you want to look into.
Nah, not really. I'm also like a top signal for most collections, and the collections that I like personally boycotted because I failed to mint, they always do really well.
Of course, as is the way. There's an interesting collection that I think is quite interesting as well, covering that NFT gaming, which I think is underrated, but we can touch on that later. So hot contracts, very simple feature. It's in Nansen 1. We're looking to migrate it over to Nansen 2, so you won't have the instant smart alert. But as you through the smart alert section on Nansen 2, you can just go in, set the same details in here, so you can kind of like get those alerts, whether in Slack, if you're at work and you want to get those notifications straight away, just in case anything interesting is happening while you're at work, or maybe it's Telegram or whatnot. And so here, I set the minimum as a day, and I'm interested in, let's say, smart money wallets here, and there's nothing really interesting happening. And sometimes that is the case. So let's set the contract to 3 days. And the older the contract, I guess, the less risky it is. Something that's brand new is likely to be much more riskier. And here we see a lot of interesting things. So you've got defrogs. I think you touched on that the other week, Journey. Is that ERC 404?
Yeah, but it kind of dumped though.
Yeah, you can definitely.
Yeah, maybe they're just LPing. Yeah,
that's probably it. So
yeah,
they probably
swapping or LPing could be. Yeah.
And we go to 7 days maybe, and see if anything. And again, it's that manual process trying to find some things that's happening. We see there's been outflow here, so that's not interesting. This is token bacon. So you see some of the tickers of these tokens that in the hot contracts aren't as, let's say, established or maybe as mature as some other tokens. A lot of it is meme coins. And I think, Martin, you was doing something with the press not too long ago about meme coins and how they haven't performed that well at the moment in the market. I know that's something that journalists are interested in at the moment. So yeah, I don't know if you want to give any light into that.
Yeah. I just feel like meme coins like for example, like ETH has been doing like really well finally, like over like the last like week or so, and like to move like a token that big, you need like decent amount of liquidity, and whenever like stuff like that happens, liquidity has to come from somewhere, and typically it's during these like periods when large caps move, like a lot of the smaller caps will start to take like a back seat. Which in my opinion is kind of like what we are seeing now. Like ETH is like kind of like stable, but we do see like certain tokens are taking quite a decent like hit. Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of like a just liquidity rotation moving around. But when we do have like a full-blown like bull market and we have like large capital inflows, that's when we do see like a lot of things can move together. But for now, it's kind of like just the same capital but rotating through different tokens.
That's interesting. And what do you think about, like, just generally out of the top of my head, like, I'm kind of curious, like, we've seen a lot of ETH being locked up, so it's like Eigenlayer or Blast. Do you think that's had an impact whatsoever on this like on-chain activity on Ethereum maybe?
Yeah, I would say yeah, like
That's the pilot pool.
Oh, is it? Interesting.
Yeah, basically it's a ERC for sort of like generative art that launched
Of course,
based on Pandora's contract. But the launch itself, like, I think they changed some of the sort of they changed part of the contract to optimize gas, I think, and then there was a bug. So the first launch was kind of a flop, but it was very highly anticipated, and then they managed to fix the bug, relaunch the collection. So I think there's quite a lot of interest in this space.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so I thought Martin was going for just have a look, see what's interesting there, but it looks like ERC 404s. So yeah, Martin, you were saying?
Yeah, really bad Wi-Fi. No idea why. But yeah, like like I would say like just the amount of like liquidity locked up in Blast. Yeah, it's definitely like a sizable chunk. But like all of the like liquid restaking stuff, like to me, like that probably doesn't really affect as much, since it's just like people kind of just like locking it up to one so that they can lock it up into another. So it's kind of like the same capital just flowing through like the 5 different protocols. But I would say like the Blast one is definitely like it's like so much TVL is just locked into a multi-sig. I have locked some as well. But
you didn't warn us.
But yeah, no, you can imagine, especially when the contracts went live, all the like degenerates, I suppose, people trading meme coins and stuff like that, just put ETH in. So their ETH has been locked up for a while, hopefully being unlocked soon, and we'll see how that goes and how that will impact. Maybe that's a catalyst to look into. So who knows? I realized that we've got about 5 minutes left. I said we could go maybe look into NFTs, but that's on Nansen 1. I don't know if there's anything that you guys want to look into beforehand, or shall we wrap the episode up?
I
Or if
think
our
I can,
viewers
like,
have any interest as well, just please fire away. I haven't noticed any like interesting tokens to look into. We've covered gaming and AI a few times now, but if there's anything else you want to look into, feel free to. Otherwise, Martin, Journey.
Yeah. I think I just give like a quick like shout out. Like even though like so far I think we've like basically covered like tokens and specific like individual addresses. But you can also set like alerts on entities that we have labeled. Entities basically mean either like large exchanges, institutions, funds, and also like prominent individuals like Justin Sun. Yeah, so like if like I like that to me is like the biggest like advantage of smart alerts is that you don't need to know the wallets that you want to look at or the specific like you just need like to know like who you want to find or what entity you want to look at, and then just leverage on our labels. So like let's say you want to monitor Justin Sun's activity, you can just hit Command K, search for Justin Sun, and you land up on his Nansen profiler page. And then setting an alert is like really easy now. You can just click set alert, and then you can select like the kind of activity you want to track. I don't think he does any NFTs, so
Not gonna make it.
yeah.
We start looking at his profile with over 300 million.
Like, nah.
You just print money out of thin air.
But yeah, so you probably just need to track token transfers and maybe like smart contract calls, maybe. Yeah, then you can just set up like, and you can just set that up and you get notifications on his activity. And you can do that across like funds as well, A16Z, multi-coin, paradigm. Yeah, like as long as we have them labeled, you are able to set up an alert really easily. Yeah, you can do that for like even our behavioral labels as well. So like individual like smart money types of labels. So let's say like the 30-day smart tax traders, you can set up alerts on those on activity of those traders as well. So yeah, just want to give a quick shout out.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. The fact that smart alerts, you can go directly to smart alerts, or whenever you're just looking for something, you find something interesting, boom, set up smart alerts. I think we've shown many different examples across many different features of how you could do that today. Jenny, is there anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Actually, I just want to give a quick shout out to Alex, our CEO. If you don't know his address, his public address is nansen.eth. And yeah, he's definitely, I think he deserves a smart money label now. Like if you look at his portfolio, right, both for tokens, pretty much, like Beam, Cypher that he shared actually a month ago, it's been doing really well, and he's holding them. Also, of course, Patrick Penguins.
Yeah.
I've
got a tweet lined up actually to say our CEO isn't smart money. Maybe that's something to
Yeah, but you outperform him for the Starnet airdrop.
Yeah, there's the alpha in airdrops. Maybe we do an episode on airdrops in the future. How some of our farmers are farming airdrops, how you can set yourself up well. You do need to use smart alerts for that in the workflow. That's what I do. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Office Hours. If there's an episode that you want us, if there's something you want us to cover, please let us know. If you like this episode, give it a like, and please give us a subscribe. We are going to be ramping up video content this year, and we'll be doing things such as features. So we'll be doing feature-specific content such as how to use smart alerts in short-form videos, like a couple of minutes long, just to explain the different types of smart alerts and how they can work. So if you're keen to learn about our product and different features, please let us know in the comments, and we can kind of make sure that content's there for you so you can make the most out of Nansen. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm going to say that over and over again. And yeah, see you later, everyone. So thank you once again for tuning in.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you.